today we're going to talk about this Big Block. You've seen it before, kind of discuss a little bit about what this package is, and then we just want to talk a little bit about boost and some of our findings with this engine and a comparison to something that we just recently ran. So to start off, basically from the bottom up, as usual, dart block. So this is the Big M block. It's 540 cubic inches. It's swinging a 4340 crank, HP rods, and it's got some J&E pistons in it. The J&E piston, it's a severe duty forging. It's got gas porting. It's designed for boost. Up top, we've got our Big Block cylinder head. It's a 360cc runner, as cast. It's got a shaft rocker in it, and then you see the beautiful billet manifold on top. This is from VED, so their front feed billet manifold and their billet valve covers. On up front, you've got the Twin TorqStorm Supercharged, which we've talked about those before. You've likely seen this engine in a few other videos. So a pretty basic build, so to speak, but we boasted pretty good numbers. So let's talk about the boost side of things. So I'm going to try and keep this short, but there is a lot to talk about here. So recently we did a Twin TorqStorm Supercharged LS, and it was a 427 cubic inches. We now have this dual TorqStorm 540 cubic inch. So we come across this a lot, and what I want to just focus on is the superchargers first. So they move X amount of air. So if we've got a 3250 pulley on this package versus, say, the LS, they're both going to move the same amount of air. So what's different is the engine combination itself, or cubic inch displacement. Our thought was we would make probably the same amount of power on max boost on both engines, but this one would make it with less boost because obviously the short block's bigger, it's going to gobble up more air. So to keep it short, it did just that. The LS, we made 1,050 horsepower on pump gas, and that was roughly 17 pounds of boost. This 540, we made 1,050 horsepower, 12 pounds of boost. So the limiting factor is basically the supercharger. We see that a lot, and I'll use a Fox body crowd. I'm talking in front of a Chevrolet, but the Fox body community, a lot of guys will buy a Pro Charger, say a P1, and it'll make 10 pounds of boost on a stock motor, and we'll just, using some numbers, say it makes 600. So then the guy has that supercharger, comes to us for a new long block. Now we have a 347 cubic inch. So it's a little bit bigger motor, and it makes a little bit more base power. So one would expect, I bought a 450 to 500 horse motor. When I put that same supercharger on it, I should make more than 600. That is just not the case. Just like we mentioned before, it drops boost. So you're kind of limited by blower speed. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if you had the 302 with a certain pulley size that's maxing the blower speed out, you've got 10 pounds of boost, you made 600 horsepower. Now we've got a 347 cubic inch with a higher base horsepower level. We're going to drop to probably 6 pounds of boost, make the same power that we did before. One would say, well, just speed the blower up. Well, you really can't. Obviously, if we could throw the 10 pounds at it that the stock motor had, we would increase power. Maybe we would see 650 to 700. So that's just the comparison from the 427 LS to this 540. It did exactly what we thought it would do. And this thing it turned out amazing. Honestly, at 1,050 horsepower, it's going to last forever. We did take it one step further, sped the blower up a little bit, and put race gas in it. This one made 1150, and so did the LS package. Okay, so we have a third one on deck that's going to be coming up here shortly. It's a small block Ford for you Ford fellas, 427 cubic inch. The only difference between that package and the Big Block here and the LS we spoke about is air entry. So the first two motors had a front feed throttle body like this. The Ford has basically what some people refer to as a spider manifold, or carbureted style with multi-point injection. So it'll have an air hat blowing through a 4-blade throttle body. So that's really the only difference. Stay tuned for those results.